What's going on, everyone? My name is Under the Radar, and welcome back to the P4G. It has been a very long time since this has come back to the channel, but I'm super excited for it. There are a couple of reasons why I'm super excited for it. I'm with a bunch of friends that I absolutely adore playing. I'm with a team that I enjoy prepping with because it has a bunch of different aspects to it. If you do not know my team and did not watch my team or my draft analysis, there will be a link down in the description to that. I also just really like I like the overall feel to the P4G, but I also like the fact because we are playing a week ahead. As you guys are seeing this, week 2 has already been completed, so we are trying to stay a week ahead of everything, and I absolutely love that. It'll make it easier for battles to go up on time, more time to edit the videos. Like, it's a great idea. So I'm really excited for this season. And I'm really excited for this season because my first opponent is somebody that I have not played since I was back in the PGL. And I didn't even play them in the regular season. I played them as a preseason, like, fun thing. And I brought a Rufflet to that game. If you have not seen that game was a lot of fun. I got hacks to shit. But it was still a lot of fun, and I think that you guys will really enjoy it. So go back and watch that game, and this game is against Mewtwo fan Nate and the New York Noiverns. I'm going to tell you right now, his team is disgustingly good. It's so hard to switch into, and I knew this while prepping. His team is Mega Scizor, Tapu Bulu, Hydreigon, Raikou, Blastoise, Mesprit, Crobat, Hariyama, Piloswine, Typhlosion, and Licky. Now, his team is very hard to switch into, mainly because Tapu Bulu with like Wood Hammer and things of that nature is very difficult for me to switch into. Hydreigon is hard for me to switch into if my Florges is weakened. If he is like Z Iron Tail, it's very hard for me to switch into. Raikou is even pretty difficult for me to switch into because I believe my ground type is Excadrill. That's the only ground type I have, and he could run like Aura Sphere, or he could run like Hidden Power Ground and really hurt me. Hariyama is super hard for me to switch into because he can just run Knockoff and hit my Kofag very hard, or he can run Heavy Slam to hit my Florges very hard. Typhlosion isn't as hard to switch into because he doesn't have that with Z moves, and so he can't be Bloom Doom, but he can be like Sunny Day Solar Beam and absolutely destroy my Vaporeon. And then Mega Scizor isn't as hard to switch into as the majority of his other team, but he can still be pretty difficult for me to take on if he is like SD with Bullet Punch and U-Turn, and then I have to make sure I keep my Kofag healthy. So his team has a lot of offensive threats that I'm really scared of. Not only that, he has some really good support threats that I'm really scared of that could also kind of sort of really hurt my team. For example, Crobat and Mesprit. Mesprit as an offensive pivot is very hard for my team to switch into. As a support mon with like Toxic, Stealth Rocks, U-Turn, and then just a coverage move, something of that nature, is very hard for me to deal with. Crobat with Taunt can really stop my Wish support mons or like my Curse-Lax. And then Blastoise as a Rapid Spinner can really stop a lot of plans that I have with like Toxic Spikes and Stealth Rocks, because his team is somewhat weak to Toxic Spikes depending on what he brings. Like if he brings Licky, Typhlosion, Raikou, Tapu Bulu, he's kind of weak to him. If he brings Hariyama with Guts, that's something that I have to watch out for because that Guts Hariyama can be really hard for me to switch into. I don't think he'll bring Thick Fat. He doesn't really need to. I don't have an Ice type or Fire type on my team, so he has no reason to bring Thick Fat. But yeah, so his team is really hard for me to switch into. I will definitely be putting up both of our teams on the screen. I know I said that in another league video, and I didn't do it, but I'm actually going to do it. But looking at his team, there is definitely one mon that I knew I wanted to bring, and that is this Primeape set. This Primeape set is very unique just because of Overheat. With a naive nature, Overheat is guaranteed to one-shot Mega Scizor. If he is Fizz Def, it is guaranteed to one-shot after Rocks. With Poison Jab, Close Combat, and U-Turn, he does not have a good switch into this. If he wants to switch into Crobat, like if he brings Crobat, it's going to be his designated switch into this. I can just click U-Turn, go directly out into my Gigalith, into my Mega Zam, anything like that, and I can nuke it. So I don't think that'll be a switch in. If he wants to go into like Mesprit, it's not going to be taking a Life Orb U-Turn very well. If he wants to try to defog against me with Crobat, because his team will be a little bit more weak to Rocks if he brings like it'll be weak to Walks. It'll be a little bit more weak to Rocks if he brings like Crobat and things like that. So if he wants to defog, I can go into this, get a Defiant boost, and then I can start plowing through his team a little bit. But This also has enough speed for Mesprit, I believe, base 80s, and then it's just super offensive. It really hurts his team. I'm going to talk about the next mon that I knew I had to bring, and that was Excadrill. Ironhead, Earthquake, Swords Dance, Rock Slide. If I get up one Swords Dance, the game's over. He has nothing that can take a +2 attack. The only thing that can take a +2 attack with this moveset is, I want to say like Fizdef Mesprit, if it's at full HP. If he has fully Fizdef Mega Scizor, it can take a +2 Earthquake. However, it cannot take a +2 Ground DMZ. It can't even take a neutral Ground DMZ if I have a little tiny bit of chip damage off on it. So, if he brings something like a... I'm sorry. If he brings something like a Shukaberry, Raikou, a Babiri Berry, Tapu Bulu, wait, Grass, does that resist Steel? I can't even remember. But anything that he wants to try to take a hit from it, it can't do it. Blastoise can take a hit, but I just need to get some chip damage off on it, and if I get up Toxic Spikes, like I do want to, it'll be a little bit easier. Hariyama can't take a +2 hit. Piloswine probably could, but I don't expect Piloswine to come at all. And then Licky can probably tank 1, but there's not much it can do back to me aside from like Earthquaking me. So I just need to make sure his team is a little chipped, and then late game, if I get up with one Swords Dance, just one Swords Dance, game's over. So that's something that's super important. Excadrill is a massive win con this game. And then we have the support for it, and that is Stealth Rocks, Rock Slide, Toxic, Earthquake on my Gigalith. I have Toxic on this just in case I don't get up Toxic Spikes. I need to be able to Toxic his Blastoise. I need to be able to Toxic things like Hydreigon. Since I do get the Spadef boost in the sand, I want to be able to Toxic things like that. Same thing with Raikou, Mesprit, Hariyama if I know that he's Thick Fat and not Guts, which I probably won't be able to figure that out at all unless I trace it with my Megazam. Same thing with like Licky. I want to be able to force it to Heal Bell and not be able to just like Wish Protect stall me. So that's why I have Toxic on this thing. Fully Fizdef. This is going to be my switch in to things like the Crobat. Hariyama I can tank one close combat and Scout if he's offensive or if he's really bulky. So that's why I have that. I do really like Gigalith. This matchup as a support role, as a matchup based role, I don't like Gigalith. I think it has a pretty piss poor matchup, to be honest with you, but getting the sand up, Toxicking, and getting up rocks is huge. His team can pretty much shit on Gigalith. Mega Scizor can Swords Dance up on it, Tapu Bulu can Horn Leech me, and I can't beat a 1v1 even with Heavy Slam. Hydreigon, if he has Iron Tail or if he is just like really offensive or a Z move like ground move or whatever like that, it's very hard for me to switch into. Blastoise can whittle me down and burn me. Mesprit can do a good amount to me. Hariyama can do a good amount to me, and Typhlosion if he is like Sunny Day with Solar Beam, and then Licky could probably stall me out too. So overall, I don't think it has the best matchup, but supporting the team with Rocks and Toxic and getting up the sand for Excadrill is a big thing that I have to have this game. Then, I'm actually going to skip over Amon, and then I'm going to talk about Florges. This Florges set, it's able to take any Z move less than 50% from Hydreigon. Z Iron Tail or Z Flash Cannon with max attack or max special attack does less than 50%, with the Babiri Berry at least. So, what I'm able to do is I'm able to take that, come in, and then take the next Steel move and click it with a Moonblast with the Babiri Berry. So, that's my hope for that, unless he is like Life Orbed with a Z move. Like that's the only way I can't do it, but that is the hope for this thing, is to be able to bait him into thinking he can kill me with a Z move, and then when the Babiri Berry pops, baiting him into thinking he can come with another Steel move, and he can't. So that's why I like this. It's also really good at just like helping keep up my entire team, like keeping my entire team healthy. Since I do have a Cofagrigus, I also have a Gigalith that I will need sand for late game. But that's pretty much this thing's only role, is to take out the Hydreigon and to weaken the Raikou a little bit, hopefully. Because this thing is really fat on the Spadef side. Like, its Spadef is still better than its Fizdef. Like, that's disgusting. Anyway, then I have Megazam. Megazam has enough speed to outspeed Choice Scarfed. No, I think that's just Crobat. I think that is just Crobat. Let me check. I built this team so long ago that I forget. I think that's Scarf Tapu Bulu. Yeah, 139 times 1.5. I think it's Scarf Tapu Bulu. Yeah, Scarf Tapu Bulu. Nice. That's enough speed for Scarf Tapu Bulu. I can click Psyshock on it and nuke it. Shadow Ball is there pretty much just for Mesprit because my team is actually pretty weak to it. I don't have the best ways of weakening it. And this thing coming off a base 175 special attack is kind of sort of hard hitting. So that's pretty much all I have. And then I have Recover because some of his walls can't really do a whole lot to me. Like Blastoise, for example. It can't really do a whole lot to me. And I can click Psyshock. He can click Dark Pulse. I don't believe it 2-hit KOs me if he's defensive. Let me double check. Versus Blastoise. Dark Pulse does not 2-hit KO me, so I can click Psyshock. I can click Psyshock again, and then I can recover a little bit. And if he's fully Fizz Def, Psyshock is doing 32 to 39%. So this was my way of weakening Blastoise for Excadrill. Since I didn't bring Thundy T, which in hindsight I probably could have, but I thought he just had some really good checks to it, honestly, and I wanted all of these other things more. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just waking up and I'm a little bit sick, so I'm sorry. But yeah, I feel as though I could have brought Raikou. I'm sorry, I could have brought Thundy T over something like my Florges and gone full hyper offense, but I wanted to have a couple bulky pivots so I didn't just sack off a big offensive threat to his team. So yeah, this thing is there pretty much just for Blastoise and to weaken down all of his walls for Excadrill to sweep him. Then let's talk about this Cofagrigus. So this Cofagrigus, it went back and forth. Originally, it was a Leavanny with enough speed for Tapu Bulu, max HP, the rest into defense with a Jolly Nature. I think it was like 192 into defense. And I gotta say, I still think I should bring Leavanny over Cofagrigus. However, I think as though Toxic Spikes and Will-O-Wisp is more important than having a dedicated switch into a Tapu Bulu without Stone Edge. Tapu Bulu cannot touch Leavanny unless he's carrying Stone Edge. However, if he is some like sub Swords Dance, Super Power, or Horn Leeching, or like Mono Horn Leech, or like Z Fighting, or something like that, then Leavanny will be much better than this. If he is fully offensive with 4 attacks plus, or like 3 attacks plus Leech Seed, then this set will be better because I'll be able to Will-O-Wisp it, I'll be able to burn it and hex it and do a lot of damage to it, and I'll be able to set up Toxic Spikes, and I'll be able to Pain Split in grassy terrain, and that'll get a lot of health back. I'm fighting myself not bringing Leavanny. I really am, but I do think that this playstyle is a little bit better. Getting up Toxic Spikes, and then being able to whittle down all of his pivots, like Raikou. Even if he does bring Guts Hariyama, even if he does bring it, having that little bit of more chip damage off on it is huge, because that 12% can put him directly in range of a neutral Earthquake from Excadrill. That can put his Raikou in range of it, even with a Shuka Berry. So I do think that Toxic Spikes is better than Leavanny. However, that was my other mindset that I went into with this game, and I figured I would just tell you guys that. However, this does pretty much hard wall any form of Mega Scizor, even if he's like knockoff. Like, it doesn't do that much to it. I can Will-O-Wisp it, and if he wants to roost off on me, I can Pain Split it back, and then Hex plus Burn does a good amount. Let me actually remind myself how much it does to a, what was that thing called? Scizor dash Mega. If he has no Spadef investment and he's burnt, it does 39 to 47 if he's just max HP. That that investment is like like that damage is huge. That puts him in range of a ground EMZ without a sword stance. That puts him in range of an earthquake if he doesn't have any Fizz Def investment, like if he's like max HP, max attack. So while this thing is really good for weakening Mega Scizor, it does make me a little bit more weak to Tapu Bulu. But that is the team that I'm going to be bringing to this week's game. I'm really happy with this team. I'm really happy with how I prepped for it. I don't think there's much better ways I could have prepped, except for maybe leave Annie or Thunder T over Kofag. But that's just my opinion. I really, really like this team. I'm so excited to be using Weather again. I loved it in the PPL. It made my play style. Like, I feel as though I'm really good at playing with Weather. So I'm excited to be using it again. But guys, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thank you all again so much for watching, and I hope that you are excited for P4G Week 1 against Mewtwo Fan Nate and the New York Noiverns. I will see you guys then. Bye-bye.